Hello traders, this is Heart Pumper coming to you on Sunday, March 30th, 2014. I'm going to do a quick video on how we cross-reference our Bollinger Band TTM Squeeze scan to show sector strength and kind of look for some stocks that are setting up in that sector. First, what we're looking at here is stockcharts.com. I suggest any new trader become a member of this. It's cheap and you can save your charts and annotate, and they have some excellent tools here to use. So basically we're going to go look at our S&P sector performance chart first, and we're going to look for strength in the past 5 days. We change this to 5, and we'll see energy outperformed all the other sectors here, and we're plus 2.5% in the past 5 days. So basically that is exactly what we're seeing on our Bollinger Band scan. So we'll go to our Bollinger Band scan for this weekend, and my scan might look just a little bit different than Cousin Vinny's because I can enable some different filters that he has also on his scan, but I kind of look for some stuff that's a little bit different in certain cases. So basically if we go ahead and start scrolling down here, we'll see some semiconductors are showing up, and we'll see some other sectors, but basically we'll see oil, equipment, and services, 5 there. We'll scroll on down, integrated oil and gas, and then we'll see a huge section of exploration and production for energy. And pretty much if you see this big in number on the scan, that's exactly where we want to start looking. So CV's already covered most of those in his video for this weekend, so if you want to check that out. But basically I'm going to show you how I cross-reference this to see if I can find some stocks that I think are going to be a little bit stronger than others and kind of give me that edge or advantage. And I use investors.com, and I know some people like this, some people don't like this. Their ranking I think helps some of the new traders just to give you a gauge of strength. Now they use fundamental and technical analysis both to give a gauge of strength, and they take a pretty heavily weight on EPS and investments of mutual funds in the equity. So if we see heavy buying in that equity, then that would tell us that maybe that's somewhere we would want to look and just ride the coattails of the institutions. So here we can see this was Friday, and this was stocks on the move, and this is on the front page. And you can see a trade that I took, FANG, for a couple day swing trade, had a volume percent change of 63%. It was up 2.44% on the day, and $1.66. So that tells me that there was some heavy buying, probably either institutions stepping in and starting some positions or adding on to positions. So what we want to do is we want to ride the coattails of that institution as the stock moves up. Obviously you can see DVN, Devon Energy, which was also on the scan, and SLB, which had a nice move, and that was also on our scan. CLR had a nice move, $4.82, and EXP Eagle Materials was also, I believe, on the scan. So anyway, that's on the front page. Now basically I'll go look at FANG, which is the trade I took. So we'll punch in FANG, and then we'll get all the particulars concerning this equity that investors.com has. And the biggest thing that pops up to me already, as I've already looked at this, is the EPS, current change for year, 111%. That tells me this company is making money. So if they're making money, institutions, I believe, are going to want a part of this. 3-year sales growth, 85%. Now, I'm not doing PE ratios and anything like that. I'm just strictly looking at EPS here. Now, we go down here, and obviously IBD has their proprietary ranking. So obviously we see a composite rating in 96, which is excellent. EPS rating is 77, so that's a little bit below what I like to look at trade. But if we look at the other, accumulation distribution B+, group B+, so that tells me the whole energy sector is doing well. If we go over here and look at the group leaders, we have EOG, CLR, MTDR, FANG, and PHX. EOG and CLR were both on our Bollinger Band scan, and both had nice moves for the week. Then we click or just hover over CLR, and then we can see that it's up $4.82. So that's how I use investors to kind of cross-reference strength and look for institutional buying. Now the next thing we can do is we can go over here to FinViz, which is a free site, and we can punch in FANG, and they will see that is independent oil and gas. So we can click on a sector there, and then I like to change, get rid of these ads, I like to change this to over 500,000. The only reason I like to do this is I do not like to be in a stock that is not having a lot of shares traded, because you can get whipsawed around in a stock like that. So we'll go ahead and look at the charts here, and now you can start looking for charts that have a setup pattern that you like, whether it's cup and handle, base and break, descending wedge, whichever you like to trade. So this kind of gives us the whole sector of energy, and you can see on many of these charts that they're already breaking out. So what I would do is, if I see one I like DVN, I would go back over to investors.com, I'd punch in DVN, and then I would look at the investors.com IBD rating. Now also, if we go up here and click on and go back to FANG, we can see right here EPS is already listed. Now this is a free site, and this also gives us our short float. So that tells us 6.37% short float. Now I would double check this, because sometimes it's not always up to date. But this tells me that their EPS is increasing, and then we can also see what upgrades and downgrades they've had. Not that that matters that much, but it can help in certain situations. So this tells me that institutions maybe like to buy them. Now another free thing that you can look at over here is financial highlights. We'll click on that. Now I don't put a lot of weight on this, but for something free and something to easily look at, we go ahead and go over here and look at here, and this is institutional holders. Now this shares owned, I don't believe is correct on this one, but we see there's 188 holders. New positions 51, closed positions 31, increased 111, and reduced 90, so we have net 21 buyers. So that tells me more institutions are stepping in or adding to their positions. So that's something free to look at. Okay, now we'll go back over here to stockcharts.com, and I'll go ahead and just punch in our FANG that we were looking at. And as you can see, this had a great nice base here and breakout right around in here. And then also you can see increasing volume. Our MACD was turning up. On balance volume was increasing. Stochastics were also going up. And accumulation distribution was going up also. So that tells you within this area, and also I like in this base right here, within this base, on balance volume was going sideways. So that tells me there was not a lot of selling happening in, which you can reference that with the volume. Also here, this was a huge pocket pivot, and then our histogram, excuse me, on our MACD was not that deep, so also that can show us. Now, right here was our breakout level. And we'll go to our TTM chart. Now, on our Bollinger Band chart, we can see the Bollinger Bands were extremely tight inside this Keltner channel, so that gave me instantly something to look at, and knowing that a move volatility was going to increase coming soon, because this was very tight here. So the RSI held up also. So the plan was either to step into a tier 1 position, depending on what your full position size was, and then we wait for the breakout, or we buy the breakout. Now personally, I like to step into a tier 1 position on this, and then you could set your stop below this. That would completely invalidate this base right here. So if we were in at the 62, 63 level on this, basically we've had a $7 move since that time. So if you're in a tier 1 here, and then we get the break of 66.14 around in here, whichever you would like, then you can add on to your position there, and then you have a great nice move up. So then on our way up, we can start laddering out, I believe, positions by percent, which can give you a nice return, and then also leave you shares to trail. And that's personally what I like to do. I'll go ahead and ladder out some, and then you can run a trailing stop, and if it comes back and hits your trailing stop, then you've still booked some gains and booked some profits on that. So that was our FANG trade. I'll go ahead and go on to a couple of the resources that I like to use. One is barchart.com. And here you can do the same thing. You can enter a symbol, and I'm going to go ahead and use Schlumberger, which is excellent energy here. And basically it just gives you volume, EPS, a lot of other information that is nice to look at. Now, down here under all this information, this gives you oil field services, which is the sector, and then all SLB sectors. So basically you can click on oil field services sector, and this will give you a complete list of names in that sector. And basically you can, if you look through this, you would find probably 10 or 15 stocks that go through the energy sector also that was on our Bollinger Band scan. And this is listed by a bunch of different parameters that you can change. So that's another way I like to use something to cross-reference. Then if we'll go back, we can see all SLB sectors. We can click on that also. And this will also give us some other information. You can look by sectors by industry and indices or oil field services sector also. So that gives us some other options to look for other stocks setting up in the same sector. The next thing I would like to show you is how I use EIBD. And EIBD can also be accessed from investors.com up here at the top, EIBD, or they have an iPad app which you can download. Now since I don't sit at the computer all day, every day, watching some of my trades, I like to use the app on my iPad to do some research at the end of the day. And here we can see right here in the Market Pulse section, energy was listed 3 or 4 times throughout the week, and some of the names to be looking for. And this was Friday review here. So this tells me that gives me another area to look at for strength for the week, so I can find some stocks setting up in those sectors. And then if we go ahead and scroll on down here to new high analysis, we can see on Friday which sector was leading there, and energy was also leading. And then also we had all of this listed here in new high analysis, and basically these pretty much were the stocks that showed up on our scan and stocks that we were going to trade for the week. I did not take the CXO trade. It looked great. I just for some reason missed it, so we can't catch them all. But anyway, FANG was a good trade for the week. So that's how I use investors.com and EIBD to cross-reference our Bollinger Band TTM scan, and then also use FinViz. I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out to a couple people before I end this. First, closingprint.com, that's CV. Pretty much he's does a video every Sunday that'll give you an overview of the sector status, and then he puts up a scan every day of our Bollinger Band TTM, kind of the sectors we're looking at and some stocks we're looking at. So it's an excellent resource. I suggest you check it out. Follow him on Twitter. You can follow him over here, StockTwits, which is another excellent resource for new trade. Another shout out to Goat G Toy here, daytraderbootcamp.com. You can take a trial run for $19.99. And I used to be in this chat room. It's a great chat room, awesome traders. Unfortunately, I just don't have the time to sit there and go in the chat room, or that would probably be another place I would be. Trader Stewie, Art of Trading. He has excellent setups, descending wedges, base and breaks, cup and handles. Excellent chart person to follow. And you can follow me on Twitter at MikeandTammy610. And that's about it. Thanks. Have a great evening.